Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Catalyst Energies. My name is Dee. Thank you for joining me. I am so grateful that you're here for this daily medicine transmission for the 21st of January, 2020. Wow, we have a lot to talk about today. I know I'm running behind from my usual transmission time. Sleep has been really important lately, so it's for everybody. So please take care of yourself as much as you can. If you need rest, please take it. There just has been so much happening, and we are really holding on to so much right now, and it's processing through us, and there's just such a need to rest and recuperate. I said yesterday, stage 4 sleep is when your body releases growth hormone. It is when your metabolism is turned on again and is doing cleanup detail in your body. This is why it's important not to eat right before you go to bed, actually, because if your metabolism is focused on digesting food, it can't do its job of detoxing your body. So that's just an aside, but why it's so important to get good sleep when you can and when your body is asking for it. So that's what I've been doing, is been sleeping in and waking up when it's time to wake up, which means that things are a little bit off track as usual. So I'm going to check in with the chat here. Yes, Seth, it is coffee time. Man, if I had my way, it'd be coffee time all the time. But I also know that just like any potent substance, you have to respect it and use it with reverence and not abuse it, which is a big part of why I don't use cannabis habitually anymore, because it is such a potent medicine that when you start to use it in a way that is not medicinal and habitual, then it becomes, it works against you. This is why tobacco, for instance, in certain North American indigenous traditions, is a medicine and a ceremonial plant substance and an ally, but when it's used habitually without any reverence attached to it, its energy is turned in on us, and that's interesting in terms of people who are smokers. Not to mention the fact that manufactured cigarettes are filled with chemicals and poisons anyway, so that's a totally different conversation. Just trying to get things moving here and get the juices flowing. So I want to look at the chart first and talk about the astrology for today. We'll get into the transmission, of course, on the next panel here, but we also really should talk about yesterday, because as I said many, many times before, never underestimate Uranus, ever. Okay, to think that you know what's going to happen with a Uranus transit like this is foolish. And considering the fact that the first quarter square was an Aquarian sun with a Taurus moon, these fixed squares, again, we don't know where lightning is going to strike, right? That's kind of the whole idea, that you can't really predict anything like that within 100% accuracy. The real test of us and our ability to manage these unpredictable situations is what we are going to do about it. And that was the real challenge of the first quarter square, the crisis in action that it represented. And if you are... See, the astrology applies to everybody. It doesn't matter where each of us find ourselves. But I will say that if you feel like yesterday went off without a hitch and there was no surprise or shock or any kind of crisis, then you are not paying attention. That is one thing for sure, I will say, because there is so much that we don't see, and there is... Again, you cannot underestimate Uranus. If you think that everything went smoothly yesterday and everything is as it should be, let me put it that way. But if you feel like that what you saw on the surface was exactly everything falling into place in terms of what we were presented yesterday, and you are not connected to any kind of Uranian transit, any kind of crisis in our action when it comes to how we deal with an unexpected turn or twist, then you really are not paying attention. The bifurcation is real. It is getting so real, and it has been for months and months now, but yeah, we need to talk about it. So it did go exactly as it should have gone, right? Mars and Uranus, the warrior energy, the warrior class, right, comes and meets Uranus, the revolution, okay? And Mars is not at very full power in Taurus. We've talked about this many times. Mars is at home in Aries. Mars is very strong in Scorpio. There is yearning, there's desire, there's action, there is obsession with Scorpio, for instance. But in Taurus, this is about embedding oneself into the soil and stillness, right? Allowing the natural process to unfold. This is what Taurus is all about. It is the medium for our growth. And if you remember from yesterday, the transmission, there's a lot of fresh energy, a lot of seeds, a lot of twos and threes coming in. There is a newness that is definitely here, but we have to make room for it. And the destruction is so vast and it is so wide that to expect it to be wrapped up neatly in a nice little package, just the way that our ego wants it to, is again, not being realistic about what is actually happening here. So, the warrior class meets the revolution. Mars meets Uranus. Well, where is that degree? We've talked about it endlessly. The woman at the well, the Sumerian woman at the well. For those who have the eye to see, will be the future will be revealed to them. Nobody else except that woman got a direct revelation of Jesus as God, okay? That is the story of the Good Samaritan, is that because she was already outcast from her own people, because of her, who she is, right? She was able to offer water to Jesus, number one, at the well when everybody else would have told him to fuck off. So she saw him as a human being, first of all. And then she saw him. She saw him. Remember, Uranus is the collective third eye. It is the collective awakening. And in the chart, Uranus is the psychological crisis. Now, you can really see that unfolding. People are jumping ship like crazy right now. They are going through, many of us are, I mean, myself included. I feel spiritually hungover. You can see it in my face, right? I feel battered, right? Watching things yesterday was difficult because it did not match up with the ego's desire for things to go the way that it wants in order to feel safe, in order to feel secure. But Taurus is about faith in the natural cycle. When we plant that seed, right, we trust that nature is going to do what it is meant to do. And we have to sit back and wait. And remember, we talked about before as well, is that the seed, the encapsulation of all of our potential will eventually have to crack open in order for the new life to come forward, okay? And so these cycles are massive. They're not going to be wrapped up neatly all in one sitting. And that is what people are really struggling with right now. And so this is the time to reflect back again on the new moon in Capricorn, the commitment to a transcendent experience, everything getting pulled away in order to focus exclusively on our transcendent goal, whatever that means to you, right? This means having faith. It means not being distracted by everything else around you. It means having to give up all of the comforts of the social life. And believe me, Pluto is making that easy to a certain extent, but it's making it simple. Let's put it that way. Not making it easy. None of this is easy. And if you think that it's easy, like if you really think it's easy and you're like, yeah, everything is exactly, and it's all exactly perfect. Look, this is what we wanted or whatever. Oh my, but you're probably not on this channel anymore if that's where you're at. But you may be. And that's the thing. Again, the astrology applies to all of us. And it impacts us all based on our own individual choices. And that's where we're at now, right? Our choices still matter. every single moment. And when we get into the actual transmission for today, you'll see that the mind and our thoughts and where they go is still really important to where we are headed, okay? Now, look here. I want to show you where the moon is right now. Look at all of this. This is all in Taurus. We have the moon meeting Uranus today. This has already happened. Meeting Mars already happened. Meeting Black Moon Lilith is, probably already happened. Yes, it has. It's already 10:30 on the East Coast. So we have had now this square has happened, or this conjunction, sorry, and now we're each having an emotional connection to what that really means in the depth of who we are, right? It happened on the outside with Mars and Uranus, the warrior meeting the revolution for those who had the eyes to see. And now we get to have an intuitive experience of that if we allow that to happen. Now, the moon loves to be in Taurus. It's comfy here. There is a sense of being held by the soil, by the medium for growth. And so this can also mean some laziness, complacency, stubbornness as well. And that could be viewed that way, being entrenched and trusting the medium of our growth could seem to others as being stubborn. So that's something else to keep in mind as well. Black Moon Lilith, the dark feminine, she is retrograde right now. The true Lilith is what I read. You can read the mean or the average Lilith. I read the true Lilith, so that is always shifting and changing. And it's in Taurus, and coming very close. It's in retrograde, so it's going to meet Uranus and it's going to meet Taurus within the next day as well. And so that deep sense of us that we don't even realize is there, that survival mechanism that the dark feminine represents, especially now that she's retrograde, it's very deep, okay? If we can really connect that part of ourselves to the natural cycle that is unfolding, right? You cannot push this process any faster than what it's meant to go in. And we have to keep that in mind and trust this process. And when we trust nature, you can transpose trusting God, trusting source, trusting your own, your intuition, however you want to look at it. Okay. But it's about trusting this process as it unfolds, a natural process. Also, too, you can see here, the moon is in a square to Jupiter. Oh, boy. Jupiter is expanding on this Aquarian aspect right now and giving us these wax figures, okay? Beautifully gowned wax figures, right? They are mental archetypes for what we are growing into, representing who we want to be, the highest version in some ways, but they are wax, right? They are mental constructs. They're not real yet. And so Jupiter is expanding on this as well. And the moon square to this point as well is like, well, we can see this expansion here. We can certainly identify the collective mental constructs of where we want to go, regardless of where you find yourself again. But the moon in Taurus is bringing it down to a very real, very deep, very emotional trust in what's coming, the natural unfolding of the cycle. Now, again, Aquarius is, at its highest version, coherence to cosmic law. So again, we can connect to and expand on the mental constructs of where we are headed, but the challenge is that we're going to feel that we're still in anticipation. We have to look forward to what's happening, but it hasn't come yet, okay? That's something else that we have to keep in mind. That's a big challenge for today as well. Neptune is going to meet, or I should say, what I should say is asteroid Ceres, the goddess of the grain, right? The actual cycles of growth on Gaia is meeting Neptune today. The master instructing the disciple, the investiture of the source code from the master to the student. Neptune has been sitting at this location for a long time now, especially moving direct, okay? This is the degree that it went direct, okay? And because it dissolved, Neptune dissolves into everything else. This has been where, oh boy, this is where everything and anything is available to us to interact with. And when we have the Neptune squaring the nodes very soon, on the 26th, actually, exactly, this is going to be, I do believe they're going to be switched. Let me look here. They're going to be switched to a new degree. No, they are not. Oh, they are. Yes. Yes. This is, again, trusting that the table is set, right? As opposed to this karmic, but also almost obsessive focus on the mental constructs and the ideas, okay? I'll talk more about that later. The point I'm trying to make is that asteroid Ceres, the goddess of the grain, right? She shows us the cycles of the seasons, of nature, of growth. This is Gaia in action, meeting Neptune today, okay? So we also are getting an opportunity to really connect here with the natural cycles that are unfolding, and to get this transmission, to get access to this source code as a transmission of what it is that is really happening here. And again, natural cycles. There is an oscillation. There is growth and abundance. There is the yin part of the cycle that is about contracting and everything pulling back and going under. So again, there is a sense of oscillation that we have to be aware of. And this was really highlighted again yesterday with especially the moon, and the day before, the moon in Aries, in a sextile to Mercury. Are we going to live rhythmically, right? We have to rest and we have to act. And that doesn't mean that our consciousness or our, I would say, our higher self is not in full alignment, but we have to allow ourselves to also be part of this oscillation, because otherwise we are just going to burn out. And you can see this happening. This is happening in real time, and we're watching it unfold. And so do what you need to do to take care of yourself today. So let's look at the transmission. I'm going to check in with the chat here and see what's going on. All right. So it's okay, guys. I mean, I'm in the same boat. Like I said, if it was really hard yesterday, and if you're empathic at all, then you are definitely picking up on the disappointment and the bitterness and the confusion. But didn't we talk about this yesterday, right? That you have to, in order for this seed point to grow, the shell of the seed is going to have to crack open, okay? There's an immense amount of trust in this process that we have to exercise. And this requires that we get very deep within ourselves in this process. Otherwise, we're going to risk destroying all of the potential here, okay, right? If we're like anxious about this seed growing and we dig it up, then we've screwed up the whole process. And then what do we have, So it's important to take care of ourselves, right? Okay, so let's get into this transmission, because this is about our minds and our thoughts and where they are at, and we still have control over them, right? Free will is still a thing, and our minds and the thoughts and the constructs are still very much a part of how reality is going to unfold for us, okay? And there's some returning players that have now moved into our awareness, as you're going to see, and really it's about new beginnings and not having any expectations, okay, and having having some trust in natural unfoldment. Okay, so let's get right into it. So I hope the astrology made sense with people today. And did you find the messages? That's the other thing. Mercury, the white dove, bearing the message in a trine to the North Node, okay? Are you looking for the messages? Are you asking for them? Are you canceling out all of the noise and all of the distraction in order to get to, that Again, the eye to see, that is the Uranian aspect. Aquarius is laser focus, okay? And that's where Mercury is right now. Can we get into that? Can we face up to our disappointment as well and be courageous about it and realize that this is all part of a process and we have to trust this natural unfoldment, okay? And to not get lost in not get lost in what our ego wants right now, okay? Otherwise, what are we here to do? What are we here to do? Okay, so I'm going to mute the microphone 1 second because this coffee is going to get cold. Oh, Meg, I just saw your comment. It was rough. It was absolutely a rough day. So many people reported just feeling absolutely sick, watching things unfold. A lot of, oh man, my heart was just breaking. It was so palpable. Even talking about it right now is bringing it back up. And because you can really feel people's disappointment, you can really feel our own disappointment and fear, all of these things. But this is part of it. Faith is never tested when it's easy, ever. Okay, this is where the real work's going to happen. And I'm going to put some astrology out soon to talk about the next, 6 to 9 weeks, because this is where the real work happens. Okay. All right. So coming in, coming into the moment. Here's our Knight of Swords coming in hot. Our mind's coming in hot as we come into the moment. The storm of the mind, flaming, and fond of verbal wars. Isn't this Knight of Swords very fond of verbal wars? Excellent warrior in the logical excursions, mental realization, skillful trickster. And considering that this is upright right now, I would say, and the rest, of course, with the rest of this spread here, I would say coming into this moment, we really need to get our emotions in check and bring our logical mind back to the forefront. I mean, look at this person. And this is representing us, right? The court cards represent their personifications. They are us and where we find ourselves. Coming into the moment, it is coming in hot. The storm of the mind, but it can be very focused and directed, as you can see here. Excellent warrior in logical excursions. We really do want to rein in the emotions and bring our minds back to some logical basis here. Again, Mercury is in Aquarius, all right? Science, logic, right? Emotions can completely destroy this if we are not careful. Now, the dark side of the night is to be, argumentative for no reason, just to have a fight and fond of verbal wars, okay? But this is really strong in terms of focus, a direction, having some courage because it is the night, and so that is the fire within us. Mental realization. We need to bring this into the moment with us, and I do feel like that this is actually very strong, and not in a negative way. There is a lot of, there is a lot of fighting right now. A lot of people are losing so much hope and just attacking each other, just like what happens in any other type of relationship when you can't really deal with your emotions and you're kind of struggling with them, and you take it out on the people around you because you can't take responsibility for your own actions. You can't take responsibility for your own thought processes and where have you led yourself, because we have consistently still are looking for outside sources. So-and-so said this is what's going to happen. So-and-so told me this is going to happen. And now this hasn't happened. And I'm upset at them for not telling me the truth. Well, it's your responsibility to take in the information, North Node in Gemini, and you can either waste it because you put too much on your plate, or you take what you're going to eat and you make sure that you can assimilate it properly. So if you took too much on your plate and now you're wasting it, you can't blame the cafeteria for that. Okay? You put too much food out here for me, and I took it all, and now I'm pissed at you. It doesn't make any sense, okay? So if you're in that position, well, you lied to me. This person told me this was going to happen. And it goes conversely, too. This person says it's going to happen, so I'm just going to blindly believe them. But this is helpful because the knight doesn't rely on anybody else's input or intel. The knight has their own discernment. They're an excellent warrior in the logical excursion, and they're a skillful trickster. Okay, so take some responsibility for yourself coming into the moment. Okay, and here we got the Ace of Swords. So another ace. Yesterday was an ace of discs. Now we have the Ace of Swords in the heart of the moment. The seed of intellectual power, beginning of a first idea, a new view of things, okay? Allow our minds to work rather than exclusively following our emotions. I just said that. Clearness, realization, objectivity, okay? So with the knight really, giving us some courage and some direction and some focus and some, warriorship, again, coming into the moment. Here we are with this new realization, right? This new light bulb coming off, all right? Realization, objectivity, clearness, okay? Allowing our minds to be at the forefront. This is at the center of today. This is important to consider, that in our hearts, that we can allow this to come to the forefront. And I'm not saying that you detach from your emotions, but if you're letting your emotions do all the thinking for you, especially because so much has been crafted for that very reason, then you're not going to have this light bulb moment, okay? There's no emotion with the Knight of Swords. Fire and air. This is direction. This is warriorship, okay? Focus. And then you have this new realization, the Ace of Swords. Now, where is our attention? Energetically, here we are with Adsum. This was yesterday. I am here. Also reversed. So now we've seen that it's come out of the subconscious into our awareness. People are not seeing that they're attended to, not seeing the support that they have outside of them. They're not even seeing that they themselves are supporting, their higher selves are supporting them, okay? This is at the top of the awareness energetically. People are they're not seeing it. I am here, okay? I am here. They feel abandoned, lost sight of what their focus is, okay? This is now moved into the top of our energetic awareness, okay? Now, what we don't see, which is very much at the root of things, paths unknown, the scrolls, the minds and ideas, paths unknown, the Eight of Scrolls, also reversed. Undecided and hesitant to move in any direction, time to look into the darkness, into the shadow. That's also part of this too, is like maybe looking backwards, maybe looking at where you've come from, maybe having being willing to look into your own shadow. But there is a hesitancy and a fear because nobody wants to do that. That's hard work to look back on what you've already been through and look at the shadow aspect. That's hard. So there is a hesitancy and there's a fear and challenge. It's time to challenge yourself to break free of the fear. So this is at the root of things energetically, that we are really hesitant to move in a direction because we don't know. We have no idea. So in that case, it's important to see that maybe it's time to look at a pathway that we didn't notice before. Okay, and to have some courage to go down that pathway when we've gone down the same pathway over and over. And as we see here at the top here, this Four of Scrolls, the karmic trench, are we still digging out the same mental pathways over and over and over? Or are we going to have some courage to go down a different pathway, even if it means within ourselves, into our shadow, into the past, into our karmic history, and take a really solid look? This is at the root of things energetically, and it's mostly the hesitation that is there. There's some good guidance here, guys. Really good. Because where we're going, this is the Fool. The Fool is Uranus or Mercury, right? The Fool, the beginning and the end. There is no number. It's just the 0 point, the beginner's mind. Okay, sometimes this is madness. And of course it's the Fool. And that's what people think the Fool is mad, crazy. You're foolish. I can't believe you're going to walk off the edge of this cliff. Perfect state of joy and freedom. Open to all possibilities. Every moment is a new beginning. Suspects and plans nothing, right? Optimism, trust in our instincts. This is the Fool, right? This card, he's got a smile on its face. It's got this little tiger right here jumping up and gnawing at him. There's no worries here, none. This is the beginner's mind. Clear your mind. And this realization here, this Ace of Swords, is going to lead to this point where we have to let it all go. We have to just take the step off the cliff and trust this process. Again, that is the Taurus energy. Trust the cycle of renewal. The Fool does seem mad because to the ego consciousness, why would you step off the cliff? This path's unknown right here. Why would you go down that dark, scary path that nobody has ever gone down before? Well, the Fool is not afraid. The Fool has no expectations. The Fool realizes that every moment is a choice to experience reality and to be a co-creator of it rather than a victim, okay? So I would really urge people to embrace this new beginning, perfect state of joy and freedom. Everything is here for us. Remember that Two of Wands yesterday, the dominion, right? Everything is, all of the transformation is at its very beginning now. But we have to get all of the shit out of the way first. And we can't let our fear keep us from walking down a path maybe we've never been before. Now, when it comes to Adsum, I think part of the issue here is this karmic trench, the Four of Scrolls. We're so used to going back to this fear state. We're so used to going back to a place where we feel like we've been abandoned, right? It is up to us to get ourselves out of this trench. And it's a pattern of self-defeating thoughts. This Adsum reversed, I am here, but not really. Not seeing that you are here for yourself, that their guidance is here. This is a pattern. Self-defeating thoughts and feelings and actions, okay? You keep digging the trench and digging the trench and digging the trench. These are neural pathways in our mind, okay? And if you keep, this bug keeps wanting to visit. If you keep digging this trench, how are you going to form new neural pathways? And I think a lot of people are so used to just being in this state that they can't see their higher self. They can't see the support that is here. They can't see the bigger picture. So it's really easy to get pulled into these old thoughts and patterns. Really easy. It takes nothing to trigger us, to put us back there, especially if we haven't spent a lot of time getting out of this trench. And for people who haven't even realized they're in a karmic trench of thoughts and ideas, my God, then you're just digging and digging and digging. It requires a conscious effort. That's what cognitive behavioral therapy is. You have to actually take the effort to change your neural pathways in terms of your thought patterns, because otherwise, how are you going to create anything else? So that's one piece of guidance. And then the other is the unicorn. Indulge your creative, imaginative, and magical side through some sort of artistic expression. Okay, guys, it's time to let that part of ourselves come forward, okay? To be magical, to be artistic, to be imaginative. That is definitely part of the Pisces element, and is the higher version of Capricorn, is the unicorn, right? Is this magical, artistic, creative side of us. I think this will really help do something that is artistic and creative and magical so that you can break up these karmic trenches. You know what I mean? It really helps to do something like that. It really helps to disrupt that behavioral and cognitive pattern if we do something that is creative and imaginative, right? Because when you imagine things, you're not going through the same step. Well, you could be, I suppose. You could be going through the same imaginative steps. But when you're willing to imagine something new, right, a new possibility, using the power of your mind, that really disrupts the neural pathways. So that's two pieces of guidance in terms of the feeling abandoned and completely disconnected from our own higher guidance. When we do something magical or creative or imaginative, it reconnects us to that. And it disrupts the neural pathways of self-defeating thoughts and feelings, okay? Now, when it comes to paths unknown, the camel says, trust that you have the resources to get through the challenges, right? It's giving us, especially with the camel, right, is water in the hump. we have the emotional resources. We can do this, okay? We can do this, and we are supported. Will, wisdom, and mind, the crown at the top, the alchemical symbol for fire and water, and the three-legged crest down here. There's enormous power and balance and expression here. And it's a significant position of authority for ourselves. Okay, we have all the resources that we need, and there's an incredible amount of balance and power here, and support. And so don't be afraid to walk down that unknown path, right? Be like the fool. The fool is the beginner's mind, walks right off the edge of the cliff with complete trust in the process, okay? Complete trust in nature and our instincts. There is a lot of fear. I get it. Believe me, I went through my own process yesterday about this, and I'm still dealing with it as well. I'm just a human being, just like the rest of you. But I would implore you to, number one, don't even listen to this. This is just one perspective out there out of infinite perspectives that you can bring into your awareness and come to your own conclusions about. I would say that if you are addicted to other people telling you what is or isn't going to happen, you are not getting out of that karmic trench, right? Because when it doesn't happen the way that they're saying it's supposed to happen, then you go back into the cycle, right? The fool has no expectations, and every single moment is a choice to create the reality that we want to be in, okay? I'm not saying don't take in the information and be inspired. Absolutely be inspired. And there are a lot of good people out there that are here for the evolution of humanity, and we all have a different version of what we're seeing. So it's okay to be inspired. It's okay to hear other people's rendition of what's happening, just like this video right here, right? All I'm doing is reading the astrology and giving you an intuitive transmission from my own guidance. That's it, right? And sometimes it lines up with what other people are saying, that they have intel. Other people, not so much, and that's okay. That's part of where we're heading for our evolution. That North Node in Gemini is not going anywhere for the next year. Okay, so this whole aspect about our minds and information and what we engage with and discover and are curious about is going to be here for us for months to come. Okay, so it's not going to get wrapped up all neatly and everything goes, there's no going back. There's no going back. Okay, that was clear last year. Saturn and Pluto conjunction in Capricorn. You get our awards for bravery and move on. It's over. Okay, there's no going back. But where we're headed, the best is yet to come. And that's why I said, yes, the best is yet to come. I stand by that. But we have to go through a growth process. And Taurus, the moon, Uranus, Mars, Black Moon Lilith, all in Taurus, squaring all the Aquarian energy. This is the biggest challenge we can face right now, is on one hand, the expansion and realization and the responsibility to a certain extent with Saturn here, of the future and the higher version of us and the natural process of getting there. Remember, Taurus is the second house. Aquarius is the 11th house. You have to go through the cycle to get there. So there's a lot to learn here. And these are really uncomfortable times. And there's going to be more. Okay? And I will be here every step of the way giving you my rendition. I'm just a reader. That's all I am. And I'm here to offer support. So with that being said, everything you need is in the description box below. Please follow me on Telegram. I have a couple more days until I'm out of Facebook jail and I can start posting there. So you can follow Catalyst Energies on Facebook as well. I just can't post anything for about 3 more days. So I'm posting all of the links to my content on Telegram, so you can follow me there. Email is in the description box. You can go to the website and book a reading if you're interested in these services. Do readings just like this, distance Reiki treatments. I've been doing healing attunements, which have been really powerful for people. and distance treatments. The Starseed package is still on sale. That's by far my most popular package, and it's a natal intuitive reading, natal astrology reading, and then the Starseed reading, which is, wow, boy, talk about an activation of purpose and why we're here. These are really incredible readings. So you can check that out at the website as well. And please subscribe. I've reached 101 subscribers. This is a milestone for me. And I know that it's not a big deal, but I don't buy subscribers. I don't pay for views. This is a completely organic channel. So every subscription and like really counts. I'm also on Rumble and I'm also on Odysee. So you can go there. I will try to link those channels in the description box below, and they're always on Telegram. So you can link to the videos on those platforms as well. One step at a time, guys. We're doing great, okay? Be like the fool, the beginner's mind. Every moment is a choice. And yes, the best is yet to come, okay? I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow for the transmission on Friday. Take care of yourselves. Bye.